Hello, everybody. Welcome back to BareRose Garage. It's another Saturday. So, how's everybody doing? Hey, Hovey, good to see you, man. I tell you what, that nostalgia video you just put up a little bit ago, spot on, man. That was cool as all get out. If any of you haven't checked it out, it's the kind of a little photo and old home video of his gasser in action back in the early 60s. Totally cool. Hey, Mofo, how's it going? Great to see you. And Mofo, I got a sticker coming out to you. It should be hitting the mailbox tomorrow. Dean, our friendly Kiwi, always great to see you. Spencer's Food Reviews, awesome little channel you got there, man. And of course, ASO, Auto Salvage Outlaws. White Trash, what's going on, man? The ultimate sleeper. What's been going on, Sam? What's that? A Ford innate object that has room for souls and souls. Oh, so what's everybody been working on this week? I know we're all getting ready for this next coming No Name Nationals. I'm kind of in a holding pattern on it right now. The parts that I need to get to are buried in about 4 feet of snow right now, and I can't even. I tried to dig it out with the backhoe, and yeah, I spent all day trying to get it out, and I ended up catching one heck of a head cold. That's all I got. My back pasture is just buried in snow. Actually, I seen Cousin Mike today. He just sold a snow machine. He kind of grows them out in his back pasture. If anybody wants a snow machine, get a hold of Cousin Mike. He's got one about in every color and every make out there. Hey, we got some royalty in the house. Blake from Bad Tree Productions. How's it going, man? Frank G. Good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a little while. Wasted Talent Fabrication. That has just got to be one of the best names on the internet right there. What's going on, man? So, Blake, these early Mopars are a head scratcher. I'll tell you what. Holy cow. Whew. It's going to be tough to get something else in that hole there. The way they molded the whole body around that K-frame is just insane. Crazy, crazy insane. But the more I look at it and the more I scratch my head on it, I think I'm going to have to cut the tunnel. And I'm trying everything I got to do to get around that. Should have got a 67 or newer. I I see why everybody now was saying, "Ooh, an early A body." Oh, good luck with that. I'm seeing it all clear as day now. Whew. That transmission tunnel is only about that wide. That little 904 auto trans with it just barely fits in there, the crown part. That's all the room I got to work with to stick another transmission in there. So I'm definitely thinking going manual. It's about the only thing small enough that I can get in there. And with that manual, it's going to be a little something different. uh, But uh, since the battery went dead on the camera again, I'll just have to explain it to you so you guys get the live recap of everything that happened with the Dart. I was going to try to stick that rack and pinion in it from Mustang 2. It's the perfect width. It would fit in there perfect. But to do that, I got to take the bottom ball joint off because that's the steering arm and flip them around, switch them side to side. Well, if I do that, it'll have positive caster. That'll throw my caster instead of leaning back, it'll stand it up. And I can't find a way up top to adjust it out of it. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get it to steer from the front that way. Still scratching my head on it, but looks like I'm going to be getting into some fabrication on that K-frame. But that's all coming up. Hey, we got Cousin Mike. Hey, how's it going? It's good to see you today. 6% recycled. One of the coolest projects. Oh man, he's got an AMC. You got to go check it out. That somebody hacked together and just kind of cobbled up, and he's fixing it and making it right. You got to go check his channel out. What he's doing, it's just unreal, cool stuff. Good job, man. Chassis work. That's the part of the car that just excites me. That's some people love to do the engine, some people love to do the auto body. Mine is chassis. That's when I get excited. Sweet. Got your driveline figured out, huh? You'll be fine. Cut a bunch out weld more in. I was looking at it. Oh man, the crookedness in that car doesn't stop there. Oh Lord, the driver's seat is actually mounted in there a little bit cockeyed as well. I finally bolted the seat in, and yeah, it's shifted way over as well. This car is just weird. Totally weird. So I was looking at that for when I have to cut the tunnel because I was afraid because the seats in it are actually in really good shape. Um, I do have room. I can shift the driver's seat way over and then straighten the column out. And I'm thinking what I'm going to have to do is start at the front of the bell and the inside of the car on the tunnel, split it right down the center, put it on the lift, and let the lift pick it up, take the weight off of it with the doors closed, and then maybe do a little spot tack on the doors to hold the car together because that tunnel is the backbone of the car too. And then I'll split the tunnel, widen it out, and then stick a flat plate across the top of the tunnel. And then weld it all back in, cut the spot welds off the door, and hope it didn't go any. This car is going to be fun. This car is going to be a lot of fun. uh, I learned that on the 66 Mustang Fastback that we did years and years ago. And we stuck a straight axle in it. And when we did it, we didn't have a lift. We didn't have anything special. We stuck a straight axle in it with I always thought it was a 429, but my dad says no, it was a 460 with a tunnel ram in it and everything and this little Mustang Fastback. But when we did it, we cut everything we could out of the car and too much. And we cut the firewall, we opened the tunnel way up on it to make room and all, and we shoved the engine way back in it. It was almost an altered instead of a gasser look. Well, we did all that without boxing it all up. So when we cut that tunnel, the car sagged in the middle a little, and that's where it all started from. And after about 4 or 5 years of racing that car, that whole car was twisted. The passenger side front tire was almost to the top of the suspension when we finally retired it. Oops, Dutch Brothers, looks like I seen you in there, but you dropped out. Come on back in here and I'll let you back in. Oh, now I'm behind on the comments here. Frank McCart, good to see you, man. Greg McDonald, great to see you too. But that's what killed that Mustang, and yeah, it killed it good. It was actually a good looking car still, but it was just a hollow shell, and we took it to the crusher. It was just too far gone. Opening the garage door so you don't sound like a robot, huh? Hey there, hubby, good to see you. Sand Mountain Ballistics. How many feet per second does that Pontiac do? Max Wedge Dick Dastardly. It's just one cool name. Good to see you tonight. Yeah, that Mustang taught me a whole bunch about unibody cars. And it's actually why I went mostly body on frame after that. There we go. We got you in. Oh, I got to give you solo layout for that.
Coming through all right?
There you go.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Boy, that looks good, man. Oh,
It's actually
you're gonna break the right
perfect timing. It's first start.
First start. Here we go, guys.
Oh, battery's dead.
The curse lives.
Let me check back in here in a minute.
No problem, man. No problem. Oh, that looks good, man. I love that valve cover. That looks good, brother.
It's getting there. Let me check back in here in a minute.
Sure, no problem. Oh, the curse lives. The Mustang 2s are partially subframed and the whole setup can be transferred if you're stuck. Yeah. In fact, the Pinto's the same way. Well, the Pinto and the Mustang 2, same car, just different bodies on the top side of them. I've scrapped quite a few of them just for the front ends. That's got to be one of my favorites right there. In fact, we made more money off of the front ends selling just the front end than selling the whole cars back in the 90s. Those and Gremlins, but now Gremlins are too hard to find. And Granadas of all things. Nah, I missed out on it today. I took the day off. Gotta have some time to scratch the head on this one. Mostly all the work I've done to it now has been trying to dig out my pasture to get to some more parts. Oh, looks like he's coming back here.
Oh, can you hear me now?
There you go. There you go. You got center stage. The curse is broken. You got it, man. Good job.
Might have been a little loud. Well, that's all I wanted to show you.
Fire up,
I'll pop
fire
back
up.
in the
Oh, man. Good
I'll
job,
pop
man.
back in the comments.
Oh, that looks so good.
So, thanks for having me. I just wanted to do that a minute. I got to go in and eat dinner. So,
No problem. No problem at all. Thanks for coming out, and thanks for breaking the curse right there. You got her to fire, and she ran.
yeah.
She looks good,
So,
brother.
oh yeah, it's coming along. The interior's a mess, but got them plaid seats.
Oh, that's perfect. You're gonna leave the plaid, aren't you? Or are you gonna change it?
Oh, you're coming out all robot. I'll pop back in the comments and answer you.
Sure, no problem. I remember that old plaid interior. uh, AMC loved that plaid interior. I remember my great grandma's little Hornet. Oh, that was a strange looking little car. I don't even remember what year it was. Early 70s. Had I called them the seatbelt door handles. You know, on the outside, you got to reach in and because they were all smooth. It had those. It was blue and red plaid interior like that. You gonna keep the plaid interior? Oh yeah, the Levi edition Gremlin. You remember them? A guy that used to live around here actually had a Levi edition Gremlin GT that had the little stripe that went down it, and it had the V8 in it. And I'll tell you what, that was one quick little car. Time for ludicrous speed, right? I can't believe Tesla's actually got that in there. Plaid's definitely going to stay. Ship that across the country during the first week of COVID. Way cool. Paying more. That's the hard part. That looks good though. You know, it's those subtle little memories like that that something back in the day I would have said it was hideous, but nowadays that just brings back all of those memories and it's just cool as all get out. Hey Ari, great to see you, man. Yeah, if me and cousin Mike can get that oil pan to you, and if you can use it, you can have it. We'll just get it to you. I'm not sure about it. Like I said, that little slant six that was in that dart, the kid had taken it apart, took the head off of it and everything. So I know that there was water in it, and uh, if it's good, it's good. It did have a lot of oil in it, but it has a chunk of ice in it too. So I don't know. Either way, we'll get it to you. If not, Walt's got two other early A bodies out there with the slant sixes in them. And I went out and I looked at my earlier or newer slant six out there. that I bought. And the oil pan is completely different. The sump is different, everything. So I'm pretty sure you're going to need that early oil pan. But we'll find a way to get you one. Now going out to the junkyard and trying to pull one out of one of them early ones, that's going to be tough. I don't know how long Cousin Mike can hold up the front end of a car while I crawl underneath it. Those two darts that Walt's got, they're about your years. They're surrounded by a bunch of other cars, so that's why they're still pretty complete. You gotta dig and scrounge in there just to find them. No problem, Mary. I sure want to see you get it going. And you've put so much work into that motor, you know, that let's make sure we get you the right stuff. Have no fear, the Dougster's here. Good to see you, man. So, other than that, what's everybody been up to? Like I said, I got the link up there, so if anybody wants to pop on in, pop on in. Hey, there's somebody I haven't seen in a little while. Smacky, great to see you, man. I've been busy, but I've been following the build. Like watching the Mopar, but it should be a Ford. You know, if I stick a Ford in it, I could call it a fart. Yeah, it's different looking at this classic Mopar now. After looking at all these GMs and Fords for so long, diving into one of these is, yeah, I can see why you Mopar guys are really focused on numbers matching and stuff like that. Well, by and large, you know, because boy, changing anything on a Mopar, especially these years, is tough. What's going on there, Buck?
How you doing there, BareRose? I had to stop in and say hi. Only stay a
That's
few
good to
minutes,
see
but
you.
it's always
You
good to see you. Always good to talk to you.
seen me in here treading water?
How's the weather out there?
Actually, it's starting to warm up now.
Good. So that means it'll be warming up here soon. Because it usually comes from the west.
we send it your way. You should be getting it any minute
Thursday. Yep, we had some warm weather the other day, and then it just went to cold right away. Because I got the Buick block back on Thursday, and then Friday, man, it was cold, but it was warm when I went to get it. You know, I thought, well, I'll wait till tomorrow morning to wash it, which I was running out of time anyway. So I had to wash it in the cold.
And to top it all off, I broke the zipper in my coat, so I've been out there in my backup coat. Eesh.
Oh.
I think that's how I ended up with the head cold.
Yeah, I don't know where they come from, but they come. And no, Colleen, I didn't get to see your video yet, but I'll get to see it. Probably when I lay down here in a few minutes, I'll I usually go through my phone.
No numbers matching for me. Well, the only numbers that matter to me are the ones in my wallet. So.
And there's always some zeros in there, right?
Yep.
I like the ones with the zeros on. Yakima, Washington was 11 this AM. Wow.
Sidewinder Shed. Great to see you. That was a cool video you put out the other day on electronics and stuff like that. That was really cool.
Sidewinder shit. I'll have to check that guy out.
He's got some pretty cool stuff.
Does he? $348 subscribers.
Yeah, we finally got back up into the 20s this week. Wind chill still knocks it way down, but I stopped paying attention to that. In fact, my little wind meter with the little cups on it tells you how fast the wind is going. Well, it froze and broke 2 of the cups off of it. So now
Wow.
I don't know. It gives me more encouragement now.
Yeah. I'll put Sidewinder's link up there. I have it set here on the side. I'll watch that later on.
Boy, I hear you, Blake. You get into that numbers matching, full on resto stuff.
Oh my God. That's why if you ever hear my videos, this is not a Barrett Jackson car. I just want it to run good and look half decent.
Yep, those are really low numbers.
Yeah.
And even though the temperature outside goes in the negative, we try to keep those ones in the positive.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Harry,
I bought a Mallory Dual, huh? For your 451 project? Cleaned the points, dropped it in. Oh, sweet. You got that Sun machine.
He's just like Cold War Motors. Got a Sun machine.
I've got one of those old Mallorys too. One of these days, I'll find a Chevy to put it on. But that's the cool thing about Chevy. It's the same for a big block or a small block. All you got to do is just chase one down. I inhaled too much Cadillac this week. Ari's in there smoking Cadillacs. Wow. Remove the floor pan. Oh, convertible.
You know, I thought about buying a couple convertibles through the years, and I thought, no, I've seen.
Oh, they're a breed of their own.
Oh, I know, and man, water just gets in everywhere.
Even here, where cars, generally last, a convertible, no, forget about it.
And I believe I'm in the Salt Belt. And Pennsylvania isn't as bad as New York. New York is really bad for rusty cars. My gosh.
Yeah, when you pull the headliner, that's where you find where all the mice have been. And then you got to go in and take about 12 showers. Hey, Lynn, how's it going? Good to see you. Another one of my favorite commenters. He keeps me in check. It's a parts car, so the roof has been removed at some point. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Blake. I sure appreciate that. Since you're used to
Chevys, here's some Mopar funds.
Hey, I can afford a lug nut now. Thanks a bunch, man. Actually, I got to get 4, let's see, 10 of them. And with studs, because I'm changing them lefties out.
Why? Because you forget which way they go.
I'm afraid of a tire shop.
Oh, okay.
And I know how much them wheels cost.
Yes, Testa. Jonathan is my nephew. Yeah, he recognized you. I guess he raced with you somewhere, but he's from over your area. Nathan has a bunch of left-hand nuts.
Hey, Senior, good to see you.
Yeah, hi, Mike.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear is having a flat on the freeway or something, and I got to take it in to get a roadside warranty or something like that done. Those tire shops nowadays, they're just, you're lucky if they know what a torque wrench is, let alone what that little L on the end of the stud means.
Yeah, I seen this one young guy in the shop I was at one day. He's over there with a 1/2-inch gun taking a ring gear off a differential, right? And he's I said, hold on. What are you doing over there? He said, every one of these is breaking off. Said, you're going the wrong way, dude. Yeah.
And you know that's just got to be torturing everything around it as it's doing that.
Yeah, he was. Well, the ring gear was getting thrown out anyway, but it was. I just knew it. I knew exactly what was happening as soon as I heard it. Yeah.
Good luck on that stove, Sidewinders. I know 220 is kind of fun to play with there. The good thing about it though is it's actually two 110s on the stove. It should split and go 110 to the oven and 110 to the stove top. So if you screw up on either one of them, it's only going to bite you a little bit. But still, I don't like playing with that amount of giggle juice, no matter what.
Battery.
Now there's something. I used to like Sears. That's where I used to go to get my batteries. I love the Die Hard batteries. Way back.
That's way back.
Back when you could actually go to a Sears.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Sears batteries.
But every time I went in there for a battery, I had to walk through the tool aisle, and yeah, it was an expensive battery.
I've never seen that one, but I can imagine.
On that 69 of mine, that 69 Chevy, it had so many mice in there. They actually ate the squirrel fan in the heater. It was one of those plastic ones. They ate it.
Wow. So there wasn't even pieces laying in there.
That truck was so full of mice. Well, bringing it home, I had a mouse run up my leg, my pant leg. Yeah, that's fun. On a car truck that's barely got brakes, standard transmission.
Yeah.
Trying to stop a mouse from chewing on your biscuits. That was, yeah. That truck, I pulled everything out of the cab. It's just a bare steel cab with the doors open. It's been sitting out there for 4 years now, and I've almost got the mouse smell out of it.
Wow, that long. Well, the guy that put the carpet in my house, he's a friend of mine, and the people that had the house before me had dogs, and you could smell it, And I said, well, I can always steam clean it. He said, well, Mark, he says, that's good. That'd be great. but as soon as you get a damp day, you're going to get that smell back.
Yep.
And I just noticed out with the buck sitting out there being damp. I got in it the other day and I smelt the mouse again because I had that whole interior tore out and cleaned out, but it still came back. I never did take the carpet out though and wash it. I should have, but I
Oh,
didn't. So, but it's not real bad. I mean, I'll just have to do some more cleaning again and it'll be fine.
our house here, it sat vacant for 2 years. And the people that owned it, they had a cat in here to take care of the mice while they lived in another place. And they were just using this all as storage. And they'd stop in once a week and feed the cat, and I don't think they ever changed the litter box. So that everything in here smelled like cat. And they had dogs too from when they did live here. I tore out all the carpet, and then the subfloor, I kiltzed it and painted I went through 20 gallons of kilts sealer just on the subfloors and painted it all. And then I put that laminated hardwood all down in it. That took care of all of it. It seals it, locks it right in, and it doesn't come back up.
Cool. Yeah, we did that kills or something like that.
Yeah.
I
Kilts
did
number 2.
Yeah, I did the floors and did we do the walls? I guess I did the walls too. I don't know because I painted a few rooms in here before I moved in.
Yeah, right there. Baking soda. We laid that down first and let it set overnight with the baking soda, and then swept it around and vacuumed it all back up, and then kiltzed over the top of it. Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna use the old baking soda in the buck next. I'll try that. I have to get in there and vacuum anyway, so I'll throw some in there. That'll be back on the back in the garage soon.
My uncle was a contractor for the state.
Uh-huh.
He'd go around to all of the low-income apartments when the maintenance guy would get behind, too far backed up. He was a contractor for him, and then we would go in and bump out all these apartments that he was way behind on.
Mhm.
And that was one of the tricks that I learned from him. Some of them were really, really bad. Then when I had my painting business, we did a lot of work for a place that would go in after, like, the worst was a death, trying to get the death smell out of a house. No, that was all, yeah. But we'd come in and do all the painting after they did the drywall and anything else. Flood damage. Around here, we don't get too many floods, but the pipes break and, yeah, artificial floods.
Cat piss and weed.
Yeesh.
Oh my. All right, Barrels. I just wanted to stop in and say hi and say hi to everybody in the chat again. And I'm gonna head out. I'm tired.
Great to see you tonight, Buck.
You too. I'll be talking to you soon. I'll give you a buzz and somewhere along the line. We'll chat like we always do. And
keep rocking it out for those guys.
What's that?
Keep rocking it out for those guys. You're doing a good job, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep at it. I mean, I like doing it. It's been a good night, and it's always a good conversation, and it's just cool. You know? So, see you guys later. I'll see you next week.
Great
same Buck time, same Buck channel. Be good. If you can't be good, be kind. Bye.
Get out there and get some metal hot.
Get some metal.
See you later, Buck.
Pretty soon.
That equals hippie musk, huh? I don't know. I met the dirty hippie. I think that kind of hippie musk smells like burning rubber and yeah, yeah, burning rubber. Hey, Rich, how's it going tonight? Yeah, so that's what I've been going through all this week is trying to dig out my back pasture so I can get out there and get some more front end parts for that little dart. Hippies and heathens unite. You got it. Cores and rubber, burning cores and rubber. Nothing to lose but your timing chain. That sounds like a country song. So how about that? We broke the curse tonight. Dutch Brothers, he got his Mopar started. Rusted Junk Garage. Good to see you, man. And like I said, I got the link posted up there if anybody wants to come on in. Come on in. Sometimes it sure beats pounding away at them keys. I don't know about you. If you're like me and you're trying to do it on your phone while you're going down the road, well, somebody else is driving, of course. My thumbs, they hit about 6 letters at one time. And then spell correct takes off and whew, some of them comments almost look kind of, yeah. Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, just hanging out in the kitchen watching my daughter play Nintendo 64.
Wow, there's a classic.
Well, watching you, but I figured hop in quick, say hi.
Great to see you tonight, man.
You too, man. It's been a while since like September or something.
Yeah, we should make that an annual event.
Yeah, we should see about getting a hold of somebody. Maybe you can do shows about it weekly, or who knows? It might catch on. Probably not.
All of us crazy heathens can get together in one place.
For sure. Yeah, it's been slow around here. Really slow. Like the slowest we've ever been in 3 years.
Really?
Oh man, I think we're all taking a 3-year vacation. We've been just grinding on the channel forever. And it's like the past 2 months we're like, yeah, let's take a break.
It's hard to get back in the groove if you take a break. I found that out.
Yeah. Now we got to groove it up tomorrow. We're going to Bob Barracuda's to get Jeremy some offset cop car rims that'll bolt in the back of his dart so he can lower it and still fit the same size tires that he wants in it instead of having it, jacked up.
Stink bug.
Way up in the ass. Yeah. It drives like shit that way.
Oh,
So,
God, yeah.
And yeah, he's slowly getting stuff pieced together to undeathify the front end of that car too, because that's got all original slant six, everything in the front end. Nothing's been changed.
Dad.
Yes, we
Has
are.
it got those little tiny little torsion bars?
He, his car was an air conditioning car, so I think his came with 318 bars in them. So, like the difference between a slant six and a small block LA motor is only like, I think 68, 70 pounds, somewhere in there. So, and those old air conditioning units were about that. So, and I've been corrected. I could have swore I heard from Galen Govier a long time ago that they made slant six bars for AC cars, but then I've been shot down and told I was an idiot and that they're 318 bars. So
Oh, really?
I just know that usually you'll have the bigger ones if you got AC. But, you know, all these cars were, nobody thought they'd still be around today when they were building them. They're all kind of, if you look at how they're built, in haste, quick, get them out the door. You know, anybody that restores the Mopar today probably does 10 times better than whatever the factory did. So you
Oh, yeah.
purposely got to do a bad job to do it right. You know what I mean? If you do too good of a job, then you get all the purists and snobs. Oh, you know, the factory, they black out the radiator core support. If that's color back there, ding, you're dinged. That should have been blacked out. No rhyme or reason to how it's blacked out. Overspray everywhere. It needs to have all that overspray everywhere.
That's like with
But
a
it ain't got
Corvette too. If you make a Corvette nice and smooth all the way down, you get dinged for it. They want a fiberglass wave in it.
Pop the trunk. Oh, it's all painted really nice. There should be Z-Bart everywhere. Sound dampener and seam sealer just like slopped in there.
And the way this stuff is coming off, I'll bet you could go under there with about 5 gallons of blackjack roof sealer, and it would look just like Mopars.
But I think that dart's going to be good. Cut them inner fender wells out, man. Just cut them out. Everybody thinks they're so structural. Look at just Mopar Joe's dad's old drag car. Didn't have a roll cage in it. Didn't have any fender wells in it. Went down the drag strip 10,000 times. Never twisted. Never got all weird. Slam some subframe connectors in it. Start cutting some sheet metal out and.
I think on this one I'll have to box it though. I think I'll have to box it up. It's thinner than 88 wall, those frame rails.
Yeah, it's just sheet metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all they are. And it's layered and layered. Yeah, exactly. The frame's just sheet steel. That's how they are. It's all the shape and where you put your gussets and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, people have always chicken little disguise fallen for certain parts of the floorboard that's not there. Put subframe connectors in it, tie it in, box it in, and move junk out of the way so you can shove what you want in it, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to cut the tunnel, I'm afraid. The more I look at it, I can't get any other transmission in there because of the angle.
What motor are you trying to put in?
Any V8. Any V8 I've already got.
If you put a small block in it, a 904 should go in there. Because if it had a slant 6 in it, it had a 904. And it's the same damn transmission from the slant 6 to the V8, except for where the starter goes into the bell housing is the only difference, really.
But I want to bring it and straighten it out.
Because what kind of rear, you want to put a different rear end in the back of it or something?
I want to put I don't want to use the ball and trunnion. U-joint.
Oh, okay. Well.
And on this one, you look down the tunnel, and the tunnel goes like this.
Yeah, Mopars are offset.
Yeah.
On the V8s or the slant 6. So if you look, the stud coming out of the carburetor is going to be like an inch off the center line of the center of the hood.
Yeah, this one.
They've staggered off.
This one's like this. The engine comes back this way to the drive line, and then it kicks back to the rear end. It's weird.
I guess I don't have experience with the early A bodies. I mean, we got the 65 Barracuda, which is an early A body, and it does it get like, I wonder what the history is of the car. I guess I don't know.
It blew me away.
Because I guess, yeah, the early A body 8 3/4 are totally different too. So
And I guess in '66 they corrected that, and they took and they widened the cave member out, and then they, instead of angling the engine, they straightened it out and moved it over,
okay,
like all of them are now. Like you said, they're all moved over to the passenger side.
right. So that's like
Inch
that's
two.
why I said 67. If you hopped in a
Yeah.
67, that's good all the way to basically 76. Everything's the same except for the skin, basically.
If it's got a U joint and a slip joint in the transmission, yeah, then you're golden.
Yeah.
It's all
I
these
guess, yeah. I'm sorry,
weird
man.
ones.
I've never been underneath one of them. And I don't even want to.
Yeah, I see why all the guys said, "Whoa, that's an early A body." Good luck with that.
Yeah. But, I mean, they are lighter. And if you want to go fast.
I went and looked at a trashed out Barracuda that's 67, 68, 67. And that should have been the same K-frame as the small ones, right? The Darts, the Valiants.
Yes. Yep.
It's still the big fishbowl back window.
Yeah, the fastback. So that would have been 67 through 69. They did that version. 60, well, they did a fastback from 64 through 66 also. That looks like a Valiant.
Yeah.
And the 64 and the 65 are more similar. In the 66, they did like kind of a 1 year only body style design change. Like if you look down the side of it, you can see how the Valiant and the Dart kind of almost share the same front fender as a Barracuda in 64 and 5. And then 66, it's totally different on its own. And the grills too are way different. And then they destroyed it and went with the second generation in 67 all the way up to 69. And then they changed the Barracuda into an E-body in 70, where everybody claims was the first generation of CUDA, but technically 69 was the first time they used CUDA. So, whatever. That's Mopar shit, man. It's weird. It's crazy. It's all over.
But I thought I could just grab the K member out of it, slap it in there, and be good.
Not sure. I don't think so.
Overhangs. It overhangs my frame rails. It's way too wide.
Okay, yeah. If you need one, if you need a K-Met, well, it wouldn't be feasible to ship from here to there, probably.
Probably be $500 just to ship it.
Probably, but if you ever need some littles or anything, just fire me an email or whatever, what you're looking for. We usually got some extra stuff, like engine parts. We got a lot of extra stuff of small block stuff. If you're looking into wanting to do anything, we got some cams and.
The way I'm thinking about going is going to be something completely and totally different. So
I say put a rotary motor in it. There you go. That'd be different.
Oh, no. I used to drag race one of them. No way. That's where I got my drag racing experience from, was a Mazda rotary.
Really?
That's like driving a 4-wheeled 2-cycle engine.
I'm sure. With
Pick that sucker up to about 12 grand and let the clutch go.
How many of those can you plate together in a row? As many as you want?
I don't know. Ours was an early one. Ours was out of an RX-4.
Okay.
So it was it had the dual distributor. It wasn't a single distributor. Good Lord.
What's happening, guys?
Sam?
We had it in a sand.
I'm doing. The audio working all right?
Yeah, we can hear you there.
All right, cool. All right, that's why I wasn't saying nothing. I was making sure I had the audio set up right. How's it going, guys? What's going on, Blake?
It's going good. I just thought I'd hop in and say hi to BareRose before I got to hop back out.
Yeah. I know that, man. Busy, busy, man. Hey,
As
that
much as
tunnel
I
ram looks wicked on that thing.
Yeah. It's very happy hippie right now. He's not even filthy. He went and showered right after he fired it up. I'm telling you.
Oh man, once he gets that carb dialed in, that thing's gonna be sweet. It sounded good. Get that stumble
Oh,
out of it.
it's all dialed in now.
Cool.
That was from about, I think, almost a month ago now when we're doing that stuff. But no, Dutch, we are not going to Indy. It's just too far away. I mean, it's 9 hours, and there's a ton of really good stuff there. I mean, stuff if you're a Mopar guy and you're sick of going to swap meets and tripping over Ford and Chevy stuff, and then finding the one guy that's selling Mopar stuff for tenfold over asking prices, like any other swap meet you go to, there's that one guy. I'm the only Mopar guy here. I can double charge. You go to Indy, you'll be so distracted you won't buy anything because you'll see so much stuff. You'll forget what you went there to look for. You're like, oh my God, I came here looking for this, but there's 5 different versions and brands of it. What do I do?
That usually happens when I go in Harbor Freight. I'm just overwhelmed and don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Start looking at the new stuff and like forget what I originally came for.
Yeah. But I think we're pretty close on what we need for stuff that we need to have. So we don't really need to go to any faraway shows. But we're pretty stuck with Mopars in the Park because that's only 3.5 hours away. It's in the middle of the summer. It's a huge outdoor event, and probably twice as much stuff there. So we just wait a couple months for the later show. And actually, tomorrow, if I want to, I can go to Monticello, Iowa, and see Potsy from Happy Days.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I can tell him to shove it. I was thinking about it because we're going to Bob Barracuda's to get them rims tomorrow. Monticello's not that far away. I'm like, what if we cruised in there, gave him the camera, and said, hey, can you do an intro for us or whatever? And then, not tell him that I'm going to say shove it, Potsy, and rip the camera out of his hands or something. Like.
We'll be starting to GoFundMe for his bail.
Yeah.
We'll bail you out, Blake. I'm sure we can pull together enough money to bail you out, though. So.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to skip the show. I mean, I don't even. We're probably going to pass it. But it was a good idea.
Oh, it was a great idea, but they might frown on that.
Maybe.
Might get a view or two.
Potsy goes, hey, welcome to Patrick. Give me that camera. Shove it, Potsy. Hey. So we're here in Spot Meet. Then have
that one will probably go viral.
Fonzie go, hey, in the background. Who I think he's probably the only person I know his real name from that show. Fonzie.
Really?
And now I just instantly forgot his real name.
I almost said Henry Fonda.
Henry Winkler.
Yeah.
Henry Winkler.
Yeah, he was in Little Nicky with Adam Sandler, and he was in The Waterboy too.
Yeah, Waterboy.
What Mama don't know won't hurt.
He caused a big old stink here, just north of me, just a little bit ago.
Oh, really?
He bought a big ranch and closed it all off, shut it down, and turned it into a private fly fishing area. And it was a spot where all the locals used to go fly fishing. And boy, they come up on arms over him.
Yeah. Well, fellas,
they do that.
That's all I know.
I got kids misbehaving in the background. It was nice to see you, BareRose, and you too, Sam. And
Good seeing
I
you,
see
Blake.
everybody in the chat.
Yeah,
I gotta leave.
nice hopping
I
in,
still
man.
got a few brain cells left, but this Mopar's sucking them right out.
Now you know why we drink so
Big
much.
body blues.
I just try to
Big body
black out
blues.
every night, man. That's why
Great
you gotta
seeing
just
you.
always forgive me. All right, see ya.
Good night, Blake. Take care, buddy.
Thanks again, man.
Yeah, I know Blake's fun, man. He's a good time no matter where they're at. They're a good time.
Speaking of
So
sleepers,
you
we
want?
got the ultimate sleeper in the house, Mr. White Trash Sam Motorsports. Good job, man.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. I wouldn't call it a sleeper. I mean, it kind of does stand out. It's just more like a, I don't know, like the low rent district trailer park machine or something. But I was chatting with Slant Daily Garage, and I was between the fence about I wanted to go with that Power Glide, and he's pretty much he confirmed what I was thinking, that my car was just too heavy to go with a Glide. And he's convinced me I'm going to go with the Turbo 400. He
400.
said that I could get. He said with a 400 I could get that TCI makes a trans brake that'll let you leave in second too. So basically, you can leave like a Glide. So on a prep surface, I could leave in first, and on a no prep surface, I could use second gear and leave. Manage to torque a little bit better. So that's the plan on that. That's like I said, I've been wanting to do that, but I couldn't really decide. And like I said, just his conversation, he told me pretty much what I already figured. The car is pretty heavy, so I mean it's close to 3,500 pounds. I don't think. I mean, an aftermarket Power Glide would live in that, but you'd have so much invested in that time. I don't know if it'd be worth it to only have a 2-speed. And I still like to drive the car a lot, so I guess a 3-speed tranny would be a little bit better. Then I can run a little bit higher rear gear. And I'm probably going to drop down to like a 327 gear from the 373 anyway. So give me a little bit better cruise on the highway. The car makes enough power, I can live with the 327. But how
What
you liking
tranny
the
were
A
you
body?
running?
I got a 350 turbo. I got a 350 turbo I built now, but I'm right at its ragged limit of what that tranny. You know, I mean, I know it's on borrowed time if I keep punishing it like that. Yeah, I put it together and did all the tricks and everything you could do to it, but it's still at the end of the day, it's only a 350 turbo. It was never intended to see that kind of power. So,
And a
and
400,
to
man,
invest in it.
you're not going to hurt a 400.
No, and there's a
really
good
work.
aftermarket for a 400.
Mm-hmm.
That's the if you are breaking things in the 400, there's an aftermarket. You can fix that real quick. That and since got the solution to the airflow problem sitting on the shelf there. I mean, I kind of alluded to it in that live last Sunday. I have the second turbo there for it, so that should fix the problem. Because that one, it's on there now, it's good, but like I said, it brick walls. It gets up around 600 or so, and it can't flow no more air, so it stops pulling at that point. So the second one on there should help with that, and it should get me up better to where I want to be. I would really like to be in like the 850 range, but you know how that goes. And then it'll be, we can turn the boost up a little bit more. A 6-liter with that kind of air, most guys probably 14 to 18 pounds should get me there relatively easy. So right now I run about, like I said, that one 18 pounds is where we have the boost controller set, and it makes what it makes there. But that's the problem with that turbo on there is the hot side is just way too small for a 6-liter, and it can't breathe. So we'll get that taken care of. That should fix everything, and then we'll see what happens. I mean, what's the stock bottom end record for a 6-liter is like 1,500, but we're not going to go nowhere near that because we do want it to live. So I figured said a happy 850 should be fine, and I learned a lot from Matt Happel. So I mean, Matt Happel's been doing these LS motors for so many years that he's pretty much got it figured out. And it seems like every year he figures out a way to make 100 more horsepower on these things without hurting them. So
it's a great
pretty much.
platform.
Yeah, it just the cylinder heads flow so good. I mean, yeah, they did stout up the bottom end, but the cylinder heads are really what makes the LS stand out. Not that, and they're still cheap. So that's another thing. If you can go put a motor in there and you got $500 in an engine, if it does blow up, you didn't have to mortgage your house for, as we say here, how you can sleep in your car, but you can't race your house. And if I was out blowing up $25,000 engines, the woman would probably have me sleeping in my car. So it keeps the peace.
Around here, they're getting hard to find. You go into any pull apart and you see all the Chevy trucks and Avalanches and all that stuff out there. Every one of them, the engine's gone.
The secret's out. It's been there long enough now. Everybody knows about them. But
But
I
on
mean,
the other
around
hand,
here,
it made the traditional small blocks easy now. Before that, it was
yeah.
hard for me to find Vortec heads.
No,
People
I
would
mean,
snap them up real quick. Now I can find them again.
there's nothing wrong with traditional small block. I mean, that's a good platform, and it was pretty much the staple of performance for a long time. So I mean, it's not. I mean, the rods are heavier in a traditional small block, definitely. But hey,
There's so much you can do with them. I mean, I don't think you can
yeah,
build a small block Chevy that hasn't been done.
no, everybody's done everything, which is cool though. Yeah, see too. You guys, you don't use road salt that much up there, so that's what
Yeah.
helps our supply here. I mean, our pickup parts are full of trucks with rotted frames and cabs gone. So I mean there's a little few more LS engines on the market here. So
You guys
around here
state
you see,
inspect, right? You have to fix all of that to keep it going.
yeah, yeah, we have a state inspection and it's pretty strict on it. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
mean we even have a few counties with emissions in the bigger cities. So yeah, it's harder as a truck starts to rot. It's hard to get on because technically you're not allowed to have any rust holes, even in the body itself. They don't want no sharp edges or anything. It could cut somebody in the public. So that helps. But probably I don't know 8 or 10 years ago they started even using that worse. It's like a liquid brine solution they spray on the roads before the snow comes, and it gets in every crack and crevice. Yeah, so you see cars, like I said, 2, 3 years old with no rocker panels running around here. It's that bad now. So,
Uh,
but it does keep the used parts market up. We got plenty of that. So how you enjoying your A body? I think the oldest A body I've
well,
ever had was a '74.
these early ones are different.
Yeah,
Yeah, different.
I never knew about that engine offset like that, sitting there twisted like that. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I'm glad I caught that because that's exactly what I was going to do. I was just going to throw another engine transmission in it
Yeah.
with a standard U joint, call it good. But as soon as I stuck my hand on that ball and trunnion, I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is here for a
Why is
reason.
this here? Yeah, why is this here? Mom Mopar, what did you do to me?
Of
But
course,
no,
in
that's really
stock
cool.
form, that car had run and run and run. It's just if you change it,
Yeah,
gosh,
oh
it's
yeah.
nasty.
Yeah. Those things are definitely durable. There's no doubt with it. You get an old Slant 6 A body, and I mean, look at that one Tony has, Miss Landy. How many miles on that thing?
But I can
But
see
you
why a lot
know,
of people veer away from 65 down.
yeah, well, yeah, because
It's tough.
everything crammed in there like that. You got oil pan clearance, with the steering linkage. It just, yeah.
Like
And
Ari
especially,
on here, he's doing a 64, and yeah, it takes a special oil pan. I mean,
yeah, no,
it rides the crank in the front and the back. I mean,
yeah,
I
and
think it's a slinger.
and yeah, and then in drag racing, that's the worst possible place to put the salt. You know what I mean? Because
Oh
you're
yeah,
controlling the oil is so critical in that, and keeping it in the back. Any engine. I mean, honestly, Fords are good engines. I think that was probably their only downfall, was the fact that, that they weren't a rear sump engine. That the problems they did have in
100%.
drag racing was from that.
And you
It's
hear
like
it
what the,
time and time again from the Ford guys. I'm sorry, Ford guys. I'm here. I'm one of you. I'm with you, brothers. But they did not put the distributor in the right place. They should have left it in the back with the oil pump in
yeah.
the back and the sump in the back.
Yeah, I mean, I'll always love F series trucks. The older ones, especially like '97 and older. Man, those are just probably, there's so many of them on the road around here, even that survived the rust and everything, that are still running.
Oh, a
So,
Ford
but
is built tough.
oh yeah, I used to tell people that all the time. Well, I don't know what kind of truck to get. I tell them, I'd say, hey, go to the local convenience store in the morning, and I said, count what the contractors are driving, and the probably 7 out of 10 of them is going to be in a Ford truck. And that's not because usually it's there. It's because that's what works.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the truth. Ford got that combination. Like I said, to me, the '92 to '97 was my favorite of all time, because it seems like all the right parts came together at that point, especially in like the 3/4 and 1 tons, because you could get the solid axle still on leaf springs. You could get a big block with overdrive. EFI. It's a perfect combination. So that '95 Ford, I'll hold on to that thing as long as, I mean, nature's trying to take it back, but hopefully I get a chance. There's a guy around here I know that's been advertising like Southern beds, because it's really like the worst part of that truck is the bed. I've kept the frame up pretty decent on it, kept everything else, but the bed was shot when I got the truck, because they had a ladder rack on it and it was overloaded to the point that the bed was twisted. And that's why I never really stayed up with keeping the bed up or fixing the bed sides, because the bed was twisted. It's like, back when I got that truck in like 2008, they were everywhere. So it was like, no big deal. I'll just pick up a bed one day, and then time rolled on, and it is what it is. But I would drive that truck cross country tomorrow if the body wasn't bad.
Now, there was a period, though, in the Ford four-wheel drives that, when they used the twin I-beam four-wheel drive, that one,
Well, that's not a
that's a
bad
hit
setup.
and miss.
If you keep the pivot bushings good in the center of
Yep.
that, you're good. That's really what kills it. They let them two
Service
center
the
pivot
hell out
bushing
of it.
that binds everything.
And ball joints. And
I
then,
know.
oh, yeah, try to take it to an alignment shop nowadays. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah, them guys on your loss, that you got to have the cams that the ball joint set in to adjust the
Yep.
offset cam bushings. I know my '95 has the Dana 50 TTB in it, because it was, I don't know if it was just because it was a gas truck that year or whatever, but I mean, like you said, keep the suspension bushings up, it's fine.
And
I
watch
know I've
those
had,
radius bushings. When they wear out, it
yeah,
wears out toward the pocket, and then, oh my God, all kinds of bad things start happening.
yeah. I remember I bought a '79 Bronco one time, like it. The thing leaked oil for years, and like so all the rubber bushings in the front end was mush. I learned real quick about radius arm bushings. You come up to a stop sign and hit it, and the rear end's clunking back and forth. It's like, okay, we're gonna have to fix that. But then learned how to do it back then. The guy's like, well, he's like, just do one side at a time. He's like, chain the axle to a tree. He says, loosen one side and back the truck up till the rod pulls out of there. Put a new bushing on there, pull the truck back forward, and put the bolt on. Do the other side. It worked. That was probably one way of doing it without taking everything out at once, and just back it up and pull it apart. But that truck, one of them ones you got rid of, wish I had. It was a '79. It was a factory bench seat. It had the red plaid interior, but someone ordered it with a 4-speed in it. So
The Laredo
no, it was just
or
it was a base
Lariat.
model, just a custom. No, it was a
Oh,
custom.
really?
It was just it was low level, no AC or anything, but it had a plaid bench seat with a 4-speed in it. Had the Granny Gear 4-speed in it. It was the new process 435 or whatever they used. With it, that would have been a 205 case because it was part time. So. But man, them were just good trucks, man.
Oh, yeah.
And that's probably my other of the favorite of the Fords would be the '92 to '97, then the '78, '79 of the better looking body styles. Actually, I would like if I could find one, around here is hard. I would love to find like a 78 or 79 long bed extended cab and put it on my 95 chassis with, because I've seen guys do that conversion, like take the dash out of the 95 and it'll fit in that older cab with some mods. So basically, then you'd have the
You
newer,
like the
actually
newer
mine's
model
460.
dash?
Well, I would use like the 92 to 96 dash. You know, that dash, put it in like in a 78 or 79 cab with the 416 fuel injection and automatic. And that, to me, that would be close to perfect. The only other way more perfect would be a Cummins swapped one. But around here, people think those are plated in gold. So,
Same here. And boy, especially a 12 valve.
yeah.
And for good
But
reason.
I'm still watching. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a good drive line. So,
If you want a good pulling truck, if you're doing a lot of towing and stuff like that, you can't beat a Cummins. They're just hands
no.
down the best. They're not
Yeah, that's
fast,
just it.
but they'll pull the world over.
Well, you know, the old IDIs, the 6.9s and the 7.3s were like that. They weren't fast, but man, they were reliable as gravity. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
They were going to run. And it really didn't care what you dumped in the tank. It would run on anything as long as it was flammable, pretty much. I mean, those were really good trucks and no electronics. You know, pretty much you didn't even really, technically, you wouldn't have needed a battery. You could just put a manually, turn the fuel on and pop the clutch. And once she was gone, you could keep going. The way a truck should be. But no, I mean, yeah,
I mean, the last one
I
we
would
had
like to
still
build
had
one.
the fuel shut off. To shut it off, you had to pull the
There
fuel
you go.
shut off.
Yeah, put a fuel. I would always, I thought about if I'd ever put together a Cummins pickup lat, that's how I would just set it up. I just have a manual fuel cable on it. Just why complicate something? That's something what the auto manufacturers have done today for whatever reason. They've complicated everything. You've taken something that's worked well for over 100 years, and it just seems like it's to see who can make it more complicated. You
I
know,
was
just
scared to death the first time I tore apart one of those diesel injectors, the old manual ones, the
yeah,
CV ones. It's basically an oil pump. It's just a compounded
yeah,
oil pump. That's all it is. It is
yeah.
so simple.
Yeah, I mean, and people used to would stress over, but people stress over automatic transmissions like it the same way. And it's like I tell people, why don't you tear it apart and just get a book and go back through it? It's not really that complicated. You just got to be thorough. You know, what I mean, there's a lot of bushings and a lot of seals. You just take your time, be clean, put it together. And usually anybody could do it. It's a 1,000,000 6BT in a Dodge. I would love to have like a
Yep.
89 to 93 body style, just a crew cab, just an extended cab. It wasn't even meant to be a four-wheel, just an extended cab, 8-foot bed Dodge.
Oh, got to have an 8-foot bed. If it's a pickup,
Yeah,
it's got to have 8.
yeah, I know. I don't understand. You guys, 6-foot bed, they put a toolbox in, you can't even haul a four-wheeler. You know, I mean, what the heck kind of truck is that? I mean, that's cute. Go get groceries. You know,
I mean, they're
but
getting all
I
the way
don't
down to
understand.
4-foot.
Yeah,
Aluminum bed.
yeah. You know, like you said though, BareRose, if you can't put a sheet of plywood in the bed of the truck and close the tailgate, it's not a real truck.
Yep.
You get them short bed's so short you got to worry about if you're pulling a gooseneck because you got to worry about the trailer smacking in the back of the cab to get when you got the weight over the axle. You don't know who come up with that bright idea, but I don't know. Give me a crew cab,
No problem, man.
long bed, and do it. But yeah, I mean
The only one I got left out there for towing though that's my '89 Chevy, and it's got a 13-foot bed,
there you
flatbed
go.
on it.
There's a cab and chassis. Yeah, there you go. I
And
thought
right
about
now it's got about 6 motors on the back of it.
it. I had that's the last truck. I tried it. I had a 2000 Silverado Classic 3500. And it was a 454 truck, 4L80. It was a nice truck. It was an 8-foot bed crew cab, a 3500 single wheel truck. But my 95 Ford would outpull that thing. And that Chevy, it got 6 miles to the gallon. It didn't matter uphill, downhill, loaded, empty. It's just that's the best that 454 could do. My Ford, on the highway in overdrive, I've gotten 15 miles a gallon out of that thing. So, you keep it in top shape. And that Ford will pull so much harder than that Chevy. And they both had 410 gears. They both had the same size tire on. It wasn't like I put giant tires on them without changing the gears or anything. Just stock truck to stock truck. I don't know. That 460 just seemed to make more torque.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
That's what it is. It's a grunter. That's what a
yeah,
460 is. When I pointed out all
yeah,
the flaws that in the 460 heads, they're flaws for
yeah,
performance, but for torque, I mean it's what it was
yeah.
made for.
Now you've heard that on the newer ones like the EFI 460s. Is there truth to be gained with fixing the timing on it? I heard that the timing was like
It's a
whacked out
retard.
on them for emissions.
Yeah,
It's retarded.
way
Would it
retarded.
be good so
12
I'd get a
degrees, I
lot if I
believe.
would get in there and fix it?
Just go straight up.
That's what I was thinking on her. I figured that would probably help it a lot, but
That
I don't like
Summit
the thing. Just
timing
don't even
chain kit.
sound. Yeah, to me, it doesn't even sound happy to rev over 4,000. So I better rev it over that with a stock
Yeah,
460. It doesn't seem. It's just sluggish.
yeah.
But it's nice when you fire it up and the neighbor's windows around. You're slinging, pistons around that size. They're just thumping in the air.
Got 5-gallon buckets bouncing around in there.
Yeah, coffee cans swinging around. Boop, 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 boop. You got the Campbell soup cans over here in the Suzuki. You got coffee cans in the Ford. But no, it's been a good truck. That truck, I don't even know the original odometer. I think when I got the thing, how the guy got rid of it because every time you put it in reverse, it would stall. They changed every sensor, no code, couldn't figure it out. Talking to the guy on a message board one night. He's like, do me a favor. He's like, go out and unplug the speed sensor on the truck. He said, and take it for a ride. He said, you'll have to manually shift it. But he said,
Yeah.
unplug the speed sensor. Did it, and it quit stalling. And then he told me, he said, now plug it back in. He said, change the speed sensor. And he said, if it's not the speed sensor, he said, that gauge cluster. He said, them 92 to 97s, that gauge cluster gets bad. And what it was, when you drop it in reverse, the needle would jump. Well, it would jump up past 80 and it would hit the speed limiter and it would stall the motor. And I mean, I don't know how many people tried to fix that truck. Like I said, literally, the guy I installed pools with in the summertime, he gave me the truck because he bought the truck and got so frustrated with it after about 3 or 4 months. And he gave me the truck. He's like, here, you have it, figure it out, and fix it. And that was like 2008. So I definitely got my money's worth out of it.
On the older
I've
one,
had that truck.
they've got the neutral safety, reverse light, everything right on the shift arm. And it's a big plastic cluster thing on there.
Yeah.
A lot of times that would oil would get on it and grime, and it would start shortening
Yeah.
out in there, and it would cause them to stall and cut out too.
Yeah. Yeah, that one there,
But
though,
that's the older
every time.
fixes.
And now, like I said, on that body style, now when the speed overhead when it starts getting erratic, like when you're driving down the road at a steady speed, and you'll notice that the needle's starting to hop around. I guess there's a chip in the back of the, yep. And that's the precursor of the gauge cluster going bad.
Yep.
But I mean, there's a couple guys out there now that rebuild them, so you can, that figured out how to fix them, and you can send them a cluster and they'll rebuild it for you, or just you can buy a rebuilt cluster off of them and just send them an old one for a core. But yeah, that fixed the problem. Not that truck since 08, the only thing I've done is I put a couple of cheap fuel pumps in it because instead of buying parts store $250 pumps, I always put like the $40 eBay pumps on it. Get a couple years out of them and they get bad, no big deal. It's got 2 tanks. So what's the odds of both of them going bad at the same time? Got them in and out. It's not really hard. I think I could change the fuel pump in that truck in about a half hour. So I done that.
That's also the year that has a built-in scanner to it. You put the key in, step on the brake, you cycle the key 8 times,
OBD.
pop the brake and let it off, and the dash will go on, off, and then it'll flash the
it'll bring
code
the codes out. Yeah. Yeah, the OBD1 truck. That's the last year because mine's a '95. It was the last year before OBD2 come out. So,
Yeah.
but no, I mean I put the 2 fuel pumps in it, 2 starters, and a water pump. And like I said, I've owned it since '08. And I used to pull a race car to the trailer. It was like probably 70-mile round trip every weekend for years that we did that with the dirt cars. And when we wasn't doing that, I was pulling a 32-foot tag along with everything to go camping for, like a week at a time. So trucks never had an easy life. I actually towed a 12 by 55 mobile home with it about a mile down the road when I first got the property I had up in the mountains. I bought this property and it was a mile off of a paved road down this dirt road. And then the people up the road, when we first bought the property, they were like, "Hey, we'll sell you this trailer up here." He's like, "Just give us a couple $100 for it and get it out of there." And I'm like, "It's only a mile from my house on a gravel road, and it's empty. There was nothing in it." I backed the old Ford up there and set her down, and she didn't squat that much. I was like, "Okay." Pulled it forward and backward a couple times. Like, all right. Wired up because the axles, the brakes were working on it. Wired up the
No.
brakes on it. Looked around and went. The only problem I did have is we come down to pull in. I had a guy down there because when we went and got everything set up to bring it in, I had a guy had a little D4 down, a little John Deere D4 he had there that he was going to bring it up into the yard because we didn't want to. We'd have had the truck stuck. We're pulling it down the road was fine with it. We didn't want to run the track machine down the dirt road and tear the dirt road up. So, but I think one of the people that did live about a half mile up the road, they called me an asshole for blocking the road or something. But but we didn't block the road for maybe 10 minutes while we was unhooking it for the pickup truck to hook it to the dozer. So it's not like. But hey, what are you gonna do? I've been called worse. So and that was the thing there. I bought the property for like $2,500. By the time I got all the paperwork and everything, I bought the trailer for $200. I mean, I literally at 35, I had 2 acres of ground and the trailer and everything was owned and paid off. It might not have been perfect, but I didn't owe any payments on it and was done. So that's actually where my dart went. I had a '74 Dart Swinger, and when that property come up for sale, I took the Dart and sold it to buy the property. So that was my last Mopar I had, but it was worth property. Cars come and go. But, a piece of ground. I mean, well, you rent a piece of ground from the government because they charge you taxes on it every year. But you get what I'm saying. It was worth the trade. So and I think when I fixed the property up, fixed everything up there, I had a 1-ton Ford. I had an '84 Ford dump truck, and it was more hassle than it was worth anyway. Because you own a dump truck, everybody wants you to haul stuff, but they think you should be able to haul gravel for like free. People would call you up, hey, can you haul me some gravel? And you give them a price. And like, well, hey, I got to make something on it. It's going to take my day to go do it. Use my truck, and that was back at the time, like our local stone, because we have a stone quarry a couple of miles from here. And at the time when I first got that truck, gravel was going like 2B was going for about $7 a ton, and that's when it made that big jump there in '08 when fuel went up. So it went from about $7 a ton to about $18 a ton. But people were still stuck in that mindset. They thought you go, give you $50 and you could go get a dump truck load of gravel for them. They'd get mad when you tell them you couldn't do it. Hold on, let me mute this for a second, buddy.
Uh-oh. Sounds like you got some audio there. Yeah, I run into that when I got my backhoe. Everybody wants to, if they know you got a backhoe, yeah, you become everybody's best friend when they got a shovel in their hand. Oh, but what they don't realize is you blow one hose, that's $100 just for the hose. And that sucker will spit out 5 gallons of hydraulic fluid before you can hit the key on it, hit the stop button on it. And I went and priced, I had to go buy some hydraulic fluid. It's like almost $100 a bucket now. Whew. Good to see you tonight, Brother Hoop.
There you go.
Love
Yeah,
that
it's
little
crazy.
Plymouth you
We was
got.
just talking about that at work. a guy I work with, he went across the store to O'Reilly's and he said it was the house brand transmission fluid was $9 for a quart.
Yeah. All fluids have gone through the roof. I had to get some, what was it, AW32. It's the lightest hydraulic fluid, strict hydraulic fluid that to put in my lift when I was bleeding it out and everything. Bought a 5-gallon bucket for that. Yeah, $100. I was gonna run automatic transmission fluid in it, but I talked myself out of it. And I think I should have, because when it's below zero out there, that lift is pretty slow. That's why I wanted the lightest weight that I could. And that's the lightest weight they recommend for it. And boy, bleeding that out, oh, that took me 3 days to get all the air out of that thing. Oh, big news on the Rotella. Everybody that's, using Rotella right now for, it's got all the zinc and stuff in it. Watch that and watch for the announcement. It hasn't happened yet, but since they started coming out with the DEF and everything, word is they're taking the zinc out of Rotella. So it's like a ticking time bomb. I've made the switch now. I'm going back to, well, I used to use Joe Gibbs, but Driven bought out Joe Gibbs racing oil, and I'm going to go back to that now.
Hey, BareRose, sorry about that, man. I tried to answer the call. It was Amanda was calling in, and I tried to mute it and answer her call, and it kicked me out. So it happens, though. And she was just letting me know she was on her way home. Don't worry about it. So, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy how much stuff's just jumped up just in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? We know the root cause, but we'll leave that for another day. Talking about you can only slice that pizza so many times. It's still the same pizza, no matter how many slices you cut it into. You keep printing money, it's the same thing.
Yeah, and that's why they're taking it out of Rotella now, because the new diesels and stuff, it's with all the emissions and mufflers and everything that's on them, it's tearing them up. So be careful with the Rotella now.
Man, I'm glad I have a roller cam.
I mean, I still got bought some jugs of it that I'm going to use up, but I'm going to make the shift back.
Stock up. Yeah, I have to get some drums. It's crazy, It's part of the attack on the internal combustion engine. That's all. The people in power just don't like it. That's all. You've seen that they can set thousands of gallons of chemicals on fire, and there's okay to do that. But I can't run my car without a catalytic converter, but it's a federal crime. So what are you going to do? And
you can't put an aftermarket one on. What is up with that? I just don't understand that one. Even if it cleans, it's cleaner burning. It's got to be OEM.
Yep. Ain't that crazy, with that, especially with the rash of thefts, and then they're going to do that. How many older cars of people that don't have the money to replace, how many cars are going to get scrapped over that? It's just like cash for clunkers, how many cars. When you look back then, like Explorers, S10 Blazers, those are all gone, man, and gone forever. I remember when you think of them square body Suburbans, man, from the up to 91, those were everywhere. You couldn't close your eyes and throw a rock and not hit one. You know what I mean? And now they're just, if you see one, you're mesmerized by it. Wow, how'd that survive? And the people were tricked into trading them in for a credit that they had to pay taxes on anyway. So.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who was in office; they all did it.
No, no, it's both sides. Like I said, it's a whole game of, both sides pretend to be, they pick, hey, this side we're your friend and the other side's against you, and they play all of us against each other. And while we're busy arguing with each other, both sides are hosing us. So
I just want to make my junk run.
that's it. I just want left alone. Exactly. You know, I want clean air just the same, but I just want left alone. Just I don't want to bother you. Don't bother me. You know what I mean? It's insignificant.
I mean,
But
that 460 that we did, it's making almost 500 horsepower, and we only put about 2 tanks of gas in it a year. It gets great mileage because we have so many of them now that you don't drive it all the time. I think that's something that they don't really look at it, how much these old cars actually get driven. They're not daily drivers.
yeah. I'm sorry,
90% of
BareRose. I'll
all
probably
of
end up
them.
getting dropped out of here, man. But I'll catch you later. Thanks for having me on,
No
brother. Good
problem.
night,
Thanks for
everybody.
coming
Thanks for
in.
the comments. I got to go help the man to unload the car, I guess. So thanks,
Oh,
everybody. I appreciate it, BareRose.
great seeing you tonight,
Night,
man.
my friend. Thanks, everybody in the chat. We'll catch you later. Have a good night, guys.
I use Rotella in all my motorcycles, so I'll have to see if Castrol classes has the JSOMA rating. That's the secret of oil. It's not so much the name on the bottle; it's actually what's in it. I'm not brand loyal to any of them. Back in the day, I was for Castrol because of the additive that they used to put in it that broke down carbon. And back when I had my Triumph, that was the only oil I could run in it because of those little tiny oil passages up in the head on that old 72 Triumph Bonneville I had. I could only run Castrol in it. But that was back then, and it's it's not the same. Daveline VR1, I've heard that they put a lot of zinc in theirs. Natural Jig, I don't. All I'd watch is YouTube pretty much anymore. A 50s Triumph, huh? Mine, there wasn't much stock left on it. Mine was an old 70s chopper. It had the 70s style rake where it had 6-inch over forks on it, but you don't cut the frame and rake it out. You leave the stock rake, so they kind of ride like this. The old style, yeah, like I said, it was back in the 70s. Fun bike, though. That was a fun bike. Me too. Yeah, even Parts Plus ranks up there. My dad is a firm believer in Parts Plus oil, which is basically probably the same thing as Walmart house brand. What do they call that? Super Tech or whatever? And that's like oil filters too. As long as you change your oil all the time, even the cheap oil filters do their job. It's just you can't run them for very long. In stock. in a stock car, you know. I figure for oil, better off spending the $5 to $10 for the premium stuff. If something were to go wrong, it's, yeah, exactly. And like I said, it goes off of what is actually in it and what you're putting it in, you know. And me, I've always used Wix because, well, the little part store that's just less than an eighth of a mile from me, little mom and pop store, that's what they sell. So I've always used Wix or Hastings. They used to sell a lot of Hastings too, and they still do for the bigger equipment and stuff. So Wix and Hastings, yeah, I use a lot of them. They cost a little more, but it equals out because of the gas I save from going all the way to town and back. My truck was super low on oil and gear oil. Uh-oh. I was kind of upset with myself for letting it get that bad. Need to follow my own advice and check the fluids. On gear oil, though, huh? Where's it coming from? Pinion seal? That's a common one on it. Usually, if it's coming out of the rear end, yeah, she's coming out of someplace. It doesn't burn it out of there. The diff was it. Oh, okay. Why did Mopar use a rubber plug? Actually, mine has got the screw-in one sight plug, you know, but yeah, Mopar switched that to just a boop, a rubber pop-in. Yeah, Wix filters. Like I said, I come across that one by accident, and it's never let me down. And for me, they're actually kind of the cheaper ones. They cost more here, but like I said, it saves me money from going and getting them. So it's what I've always used. Most of the Hastings I see now are for big stuff, like the air cleaner on my backhoe. Yeah, it's enormous. That's a Hastings. The fuel filters on them are Hastings, and the hydraulic one. The oil filter is a Wix. So, anybody else got any questions? Want to hop on in? Anything? You still got that broken spring in the back? A broken leaf. Heesh. Those are fun. I've heard about that with K&Ns. Certain applications, I could see stuff like that really helping you. Like an FE Ford or in any of the dual sump Fords. That would help. Come to think of it, on any Ford, that would help. Except for the Y block. Then nothing helps. And you know, Fram's premium filters actually were okay. It was their bottom line stuff that got all of the, yeah, nasty. And if you have a Fram in anything, a daily driver, anything, it's a 3,000 mile, or 30,000, yeah, 3,000 mile oil filter. That's it. Get it off there after that amount of time. And I'd even change them even quicker than that. I've seen a lot of cases where the Walmart Super Tech is actually better than the Fram bottom line stuff. Fram makes a lot of stuff, a lot of different oil filters, but everybody associates that with their bottom shelf one. Napa Gold filters, you know, I've never used them. It's because the Napa is so far away from me. It's like a good hour out of my day, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours out of my day if I go to Napa. So I don't generally get the filters from there. But for years, Napa, if it was a specialty part, that's where you went. Good set of points, get them at Napa, and make sure it's the premium one, because again, they sell both of them too. But generally, Napa's got the good ones on the shelf, not the nylon runner ones. They're rebranded wicks. That makes sense. I'm sure that, you know, they're all probably made in about 4 or 5 different factories, and they just put a different label on all of them. Anymore, everything's made in Mexico and China anyway, so. I change my oil once a month, filter quarterly, mileage, no idea. I do that on some of mine because, yeah, the odometer don't work. Really though, if you want to be particular on that stuff, put an hourly gauge in your car, because really that's what everything should be regulated off of. Mileage is just kind of a rough guess. For me though, I never change it by date. I change it by how far it's gone. And none of them sit long enough to have for condensation to be an issue in them, so. And especially in cop cars, good Lord. Those things have 100,000 miles of idle time. They say if you buy an old cop car, take the mileage that's on the meter and times it by 10. I always wondered why they didn't go by the hour on them. We have hour meters on the fire. Yeah. Funny, but when you're sitting still and pumping water, the odometer still spins. Is it PTO driven? Huh. That would have to be PTO driven then, right? On the big fire trucks that we had here, years ago, we used to build brush trucks for the fire department. Brush trucks are the ones that they send out on field fires, brush fires, and stuff like that. And the fire chief here, he would order brand new Fords because Ford give him the best deal. And he'd buy them utility. He'd buy utility trucks. They're the ones with the dual axle, but they're short. The short axles, so the outside dual is the same width as the front tires. And then we'd put a kind of like a utility bed on them, and then we put the pump in the back of them. We'd build the pump in the utility bed for them, and then send them out. It's like a transfer case, so odometer still spins. Yeah. We built quite a few of those for the fire department. In fact, those brush trucks are still going. And our fire chief, he was the owner of the parts store. He was also the bishop, and he was mayor of the town. He was a man of very, very many hats in our little bitty town of only about 400 people. I guess it's closer to 500 now. Great guy. Great guy. And we'd build those trucks for him for dang near cost. But it paid off because it was less money on our taxes. So he never had to put in an increase for the taxes on that. K&N makes some good stuff, but man, you gotta stay on top of those K&N air filters. I know everybody swears by them, but they swear by them too much. And I've seen people neglect things because it's good for 100,000 miles, and they stick it on there and just, oh man. Yeah, I've seen some pretty nasty things because of the mentality that people had with them. There's no replacement for maintenance. Yeah, good old Bruce, and I still see him. He's retired now, but yeah, I still talk to him all the time. Good to see you again there, Sam. Rear end cover comes off early, and transmission get dumped every 6 months. You use your truck, so you know how to work a truck. And he's got a great channel. You got to go check him out. He's got some cool stuff going on. I love that big old truck of yours. Like I say, I can't give too much away. You got to go check him out. And still, my favorite video of yours is changing that starter in the back of that restaurant in the parking lot. That was cool. The box doesn't say where it's from. I got a funny story on that one. I used to only buy Timken bearings, and Timken seals because they were made in the USA. I've never had a Timken let me down. Well, I had to special order in this seal. The bearings came in. I pulled the bearings out, checked them, make sure, because you always make sure that numbers match the ones on the box because things happen. So I pull it out and I look at it, and they've all got it stamped on the bearing there. Made in the USA on the bearing. Okay. Opened up the race. Made in the USA. The numbers all match. Got it in there. Pulled open the seal. The seal, it's got the, parts number on it. Down below on the box, it said made in USA. Pulled it out, checked it out. Yep, the numbers stamped on the seal were the same, but stamped on the seal, made in Mexico. So yeah, what's on the box doesn't mean what's on the inside. I guess the box was made in America, but that doesn't matter. Everything, like I said, is going overseas, and it is what it is. We just got to pick through the best of what we can get. Yeah, it's all gone that way. And on the same sense, standard ignition. We've always used that. All kinds of stuff, points, you name it, condensers, everything standard ignition makes. I went through 3 on that Ford Explorer of mine. Well, no, 2 on that Explorer and 1 on another one. Starter solenoids, made in the USA. Stuck them on there. 2 of them hung, and the starter just kept going. Took them back, got another one, and it took off and went just fine. But 3 of them, I've had to do that, and all 3 of them were made in the USA now. So you really gotta, it doesn't matter where it's made anymore, where it says it's made. There's a lot of Friday night special parts floating around out there. It's getting tough. Yeah, a lot of stuff coming from Mexico, except for their plastics. I'm sorry, I'm biased. I had an '01 Dodge made in Mexico. The mirrors kept falling off. The outside mirrors, it's got those flip up towing mirrors on the '01 Dodges, and the mirrors kept falling out. The plastic could stay there, the housings, everything, but the mirror part, the glass, would just fall off, and you could see the glue strips on there. I called up the local glass shop to try to see if they could order me glass, or because they're expensive. They're really expensive to get me new mirrors for it. The first thing he said was, "Oh, you got a Mexican Dodge." I said, "What?" I didn't even dawn on me. And I went out and I opened the door and looked, and sure enough, the truck was made in Mexico. He said back in those years, they used some kind of oil in the plastics molds that they would use, and nothing would stick to it. It wouldn't adhere to the glass. If it adhered to the glass, it wouldn't adhere to the plastic. And if it stuck to the plastic, it wouldn't stick to the glass. Oh man, I lost so many mirrors on that dang truck. You'd be sitting in a parking lot, it'd be stopped, and then you'd see the glass drop and hit the pavement and just shatter. Ugh. When I got rid of the truck, a friend of mine, he used to install cultured marble in people's bathrooms. He said, "Let me try it," and he used some of his glue, 2-part epoxy glue that he used for that artificial marble for shower surrounds and stuff. That was actually holding pretty good. So if you have an '01 Mexican Dodge that the mirrors keep falling off of. Find somebody that installs artificial marble in bathrooms and have them glue your mirrors back on. There was too much oil in the plastic or something. I don't know. Had a heck of a time. Yeah, and prices keep going. I was thinking about that today, though, that have they really gone up? Because wages all went up nationwide. So I don't know. I think we're just seeing that rebalance out again. Whatever it is, it sucks, though. I'm with y'all. It just sucks, no matter what. I remember back in the '80s, you could buy a Carter carburetor, Carter AFB, for what was it, $125, or it was $175 for an Edelbrock, and they were basically the exact same thing. And we always went with the Carters because it was all we could afford. But back then, if you were making $5 an hour, you were doing pretty good. So it was expensive then, even though it was, I would love to give $150 for a carburetor now. Of course, gas was under $1 then too. I remember it still being spendy. Good Lord, now I'm sounding like an old man. Oh, what's the next subject? Somebody come on before I deep dive down that rabbit hole. Yeah, the good old Carter AFB. God, we used a lot of them. Around here, though, a lot of people four-wheel drive, and going off-road here up in the mountains and out on the desert is a really big thing. So people were yanked. That's why I've got like 8 Holly double pumpers out in my garage, because people would pull them off and stick those Carters on or the Edelbrocks because of the going up and down like this. Hollies would just flood out all over the place, and people would come in and have us put a Carter or a Edelbrock on, and we just pull the Hollies off and stick them on a shelf. That's how come I ended up with all of those. No one talking over you and a bunch of good feedback. Let me adjust the volume there. Get a little feedback. Thanks, Harry. When gasoline is up, fuel oil is up, and people buy more wood. So the fluctuation balances for me. That's right, man. And you got the waste oil burner too. So, changing your oil, you're heating your place with it. And I gotta really deep look into that for next year. I think I'm gonna try to heat my shop with a waste burner. That little pellet stove. If you notice in all my videos, I got my little pellet stove out there going. It'll be out there running, 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours. You notice my tools are set on it. They're set on it for a reason. So I can grab a hold of them and my hands don't stick to it because they're so cold. I got to leave my wrenches on my stove. Of course, that's the nature of it, though. That thing can be running and you can sit on it. It doesn't get warm. It blows the heat out of it. But I've had a couple people comment, oh, don't your tools get hot when you set them on there? I said, no, that's so I can get a hold of them. Those AFBs had great throttle response. Yeah, and they were easy to tune. Super easy to tune. Now, you can't deep dive in them like you can a Holly. A Holly, a Holly is a great carburetor for people who know what they're doing. But you get somebody who just likes to tinker, Hollies are not the carburetor for those kind of people because they take them so far out of whack, it's unbelievable. To the point that I don't even look at them at swap meets anymore or anything like that. It would have to be new and in the box for me to want it because people like to play with them too much. And now that Edelbrock has reintroduced the ABS, the old Carter ABS, and Edelbrock's got the ABS too. Oh man, I'm sold on that thing. I love the throttle response on that, and wow, that woke up that 390 and that Mercury like no tomorrow. I'm totally sold on that. I mean, I was on the original one that Carter had, the ABS, and Edelbrock took it to a new level on that. The way they man, tip of my tongue. The boosters, they just fog it instead of spray. It's fog. Oh man, the response you get out of that is, yeah, I'm sold. I want a set of AVS2s for my 451 project. The annual boosters is what I want. You'd be very happy with them. I was. I mean, I'm sold. Yep, exactly, hubby. If you can find one new that nobody is taking a drill bit to and tried to, then yeah, they're great. And track tunability, like I said, you can dial those things in perfect if you want. But they cost more to rebuild, a lot more to rebuild. You can rebuild 2 Edelbrocks for the price of 1 Holly. Me too. I got a bunch of cores, but I ain't got the money to rebuild them all. And I'm a sucker for Strombergs too. Strombergs and the Holly 94, Stromberg 97s, and Holly 94s. The old 2 barrels. And somewhere, I think Dad still got it up at his place, but he had the conversion kit to take 2 Holly 94s and switch them. You take the power valves out of them and all of that, and it turns them into secondary carburetors for setting up a tricarb. Takes the choke off of them, all that stuff, and they're just a secondary carb after that. Drilling out the jets were the worst. Yeah. I thought, oh, yeah. When people go to that extreme, I just, nah, I don't want it. the the strangest one I ever did was a Zenith on that 46 Plymouth. It had a Zenith little 1-barrel carburetor on it. Same logo as the TV. uh, I mean, it looked just like a Carter, and you could tell it was a Carter design, but it had the Zenith name on it. The screwiest one is a Ford Teapot, though. If you ever seen one of them, and I think there's only about 4 people left that can rebuild them and kind of guarantee them to work because they didn't work from the factory. I'm kidding. No, I'm not. I'd have to say that's probably the strangest one. No, I'd take it back. And at the No Name Nationals, we were supposed to have the carburetor shot put. And I hope they bring it back this year, and I hope they do it this coming year, because I purposely brought a Motorcraft variable Venturi carburetor to enter into the carburetor shot put. I was gonna make sure I could throw that son of a gun as far as I could. If you've ever seen them, those are goofy. That was back when they were trying to computerize a carburetor, and it failed miserably. It's funny, on my drivers, I'll only use the Hollytop carburetors that use common parts, but I love weird carburetors. Oh man, and that slant 6 we found on that Massey Ferguson swather. I would love to have put that in that dart. That would have been cool. It was a side draft, 1-barrel, and it come off on a little, as a forward facing, so the air cleaner come out straight on it, and it dropped down on a 90 down into the intake. I looked at that, and that would be easy to get like a ram induction out of a 1-barrel carburetor. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still thinking about that one. Oh, he had the 6-pack on it. Yeah. On a 56, huh? The old 371 olds. Yep. If I remember right, that was the first engine to do 1 cube for, 1 horsepower per 1 cube was the 56, 57 Chevy fuel injected. And then Chevy went to Victor Edelbrock Sr. and said, can you do that with a carburetor? And he developed that manifold with the 6 deuces on it. And that was the first carbureted to go 1-for-1, and he actually went over it with that. And that's when GM backed him, and yeah, GM became the the easiest for the aftermarket because they launched Edelbrock. I'd love to have one of them. They're just beyond cool looking. Like the pumpkin tosses they do, we'll load that thing up full of variable venturis and launch them back to wherever they came from. The fiery pit. Yeah. One of the easiest carburetors to rebuild, though, is a Carter BBD. Oh man, you close your eyes and put that thing back together. You can close your eyes and take it apart and put it back together. Good Lord, they're simple. The last kit I got, actually, I bought it here at our little local auto parts store. He still had a carburetor kit on the shelf for that. And it still had the old leather accelerator pump. Remember those? You had to soak them in gas and then slip them in, and the gas would make them swell. Still had it on the shelf with and the valve cover gaskets for a 318 poly. Yeah, the old rawhide accelerator pumps. Looked like a bunch of rawhide washers stacked on top of each other. Little rawhide discs. And while you're getting everything together and you're blowing out all the chambers with the carburetor cleaner, you just drop it in a little, we use a little shot glass full of gas, drop it in there, set it off to the side, get her all done, pick it out and stick it in, slap her together, bang, off she goes. First supercharger came from a tank. The Hellcat, Continental engine, had the supercharger on it. It was they called it the Hellcat. Yeah, and it was up until the Abrams M1A1 Abrams, it was the fastest tank back in World War II. And it was designed by the same guy that designed the bullet nose Studebaker. Then he designed the Avani Studebaker. And then he went on to work on the Apollo program and put us on the moon. God, what the hell was his name? I'll think of it here in a bit. And he specifically designed the Avani to break the land speed record in a 4-passenger car. And he did. Out at Bonneville. Speaking of which, that's coming up this year too, in August. If any of you ever get the chance, go to Speed Week. It'll be a time you'll never forget. Just for the experience of it. Yeah, same concept even. And the kerosene or the Coleman fuel does the same thing. Makes them swell. And then you pump them up. Yeah, that last one that we did. Yeah. It was spendy. It scared me. All in all, with all the, because you got to figure the whole thing in with the Hollies. We changed the power valves in it, the whole kit, and 2 cans of Berryman's, plus, letting it soak. It was almost $200 after that was all done, just in parts to rebuild that Holly on my dad's '87 Ford. I really can't think of any carburetor designs I hate. Every carburetor that pissed me off did so because it was worn out to the point rebuilding wasn't going to help. Yeah. Oh. Oh, that last, not this last 4300, one I tried to do before that. Uh, it the gas that was in it was so bad when I I had to pry the top of the carburetor off, and it ripped the floats out of it, and it was just solid jelly, hard jelly in the float bowls. Oh man, that was bad. I think they were trying to run it on injector cleaner, because it's what it was like, just dried up fuel injector cleaner that was in them float bowls. Oh, that was horrible. I just threw it away. I didn't even. I cut the linkage off, the throttle linkage off of it, and threw it away. And I kept that little linkage, because on a Ford, you got to have that little linkage so you can adapt it over to an Edelbrock or anything else you put on there, because a Ford's kick down. Oh yeah, one backfire and you start over. Yeah, thermal quad. Yeah, try scraping the gasket off of that. Yeah, plastic. When it's all dried and crusted, and yeah. The hardest carburetor I ever rebuilt for another person was a thermal quad, because I had to really take my time cleaning it, and it was bad. Good night, 6%. Thanks for stopping in, man. And with that, we're about let's see, 2.5 hours. I think I better shut her down too. I'm getting a little shy on hours. We kind of went over last week a little bit. Hey, there we go. Ari, speaking of Coleman, I just fixed our electric stove for the wife. Hey, got her done. I brought my two. Good one, man. That's a good one. I gotta remember that one. Oh, I agree with you on that glass top, though. You gotta go watch his videos. I'm not gonna give anything away, but yeah, glass tops and cast iron, not a good combination. I got a glass top now, and I hate it. Anyway, great seeing you, Sidewinder. Oh, and everybody, Doug, all my mods, Ari, I will pull that oil pan for you probably Monday, and I'll take really good video of it and stuff. You tell me what you think. If you want it, I'll get it sent off your way. It's yours, man. I hope it works for you because, like I said, I got 2 more, but I got to figure out how to get them out of there with the car sitting down like they are in where they're at. And you know what a pain it is to pull an oil pan on a slant 6 on an early A body. Anyway, thanks everybody for coming out tonight. It's been great. Go check out Blake over at Bad Tree Productions if you haven't checked him out. Blake, thanks a million for the super chat tonight. And all of you, we'll see y'all again next week. And till then, get out there and get some metal hot. And check out all these channels that are on here. Hubby's, World of Wood Chips. I mean, you want to see a hard-working guy with a hard-working truck? World of Wood Chips right there. And everybody else on here. 6% with your rambling Jeep. That's a good way to say it. I love what you're doing with that. And like I said, I really don't want to leave any of you out. Go check everybody out, and we'll see you next week. Till then, get out there and keep the metal hot. We'll catch you next week.